What's up, family? Welcome back to another legendary top of the movie reaction video. Let's go, man.
Why do people talk about dreams so much in sports? Dream seasons, dream matchups, dream opportunities. They do it because so much of sports is about imagining what you want things to be like. If only the setting were just right.
It was one of those times none of us will ever forget.
The characters just
We got Charles Barkley there with his eye looking cocked like a pistol.
I don't know anything about Angola, but Angola's in trouble.
the timing just right.
11 Hall of Famers. I don't think you can ever do that again at no point in time.
If only it could all be the way you might have dreamed it up yourself.
Oh, you filming? Yep.
That was the most exhilarating 15 seconds of my life.
People perceived us as
Hey,
being
Bird.
superheroes.
Please, Michael Jordan!
No Isaiah Thomas stuff.
Of course, bro. You got Larry Bird, you got Magic Johnson, you got MJ coming up, man. That joint, you got some people in there.
Cool.
We became a team, and that team just stomped on everybody.
Patrick Ewing right there.
This never happened in sports. Nowhere.
Well, I figured eventually there'd be a movie made about the Dream Team.
This group may well be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of team
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be no other team like it, man.
sports.
Dream Team.
God bless you, and God bless America.
20 years can go by pretty fast, and the world isn't gonna stop and wait for you to remember what it used to look like. 1992 was a time of change. New faces in America quickly transforming into cultural
Look at this man, Will Smith.
icons. None more so than the superstars of the NBA.
The Bulls have repeated. Let the party begin.
After the legends of the 80s had lifted the league's profile to new heights, a fresh crop of players had blown the lid off.
Barkley trying to break the rim.
Their talents and their charisma made them more than just basketball players.
I am not a role model.
They were a new kind of star athlete whose popularity transcended the game.
Look at Scotty over here promoting deodorant, man. Get them armpits right. Be like Mike.
Is it the shoes?
No, Mom.
And now the very best of them awaited their brightest showcase, the world's largest athletic stage, the Olympic Games in Barcelona, Spain.
Magic Johnson with the cowboy hat on in his joint.
Even if no one truly realized the impact they would make there.
It's a watershed moment in the history of sports, not just the Olympics, not just basketball. It moved the
USA always sent basketball teams made up of college kids. Interesting.
Games that dominated for decades. In 1972, the Soviet Union was awarded a victory over the U.S. in a controversial gold medal game.
The United States apparently had won the game, but the debate still goes on.
To this day, that American team still hasn't claimed their silver medals. But that result seemed like a fluke when the Americans got the gold in their next two Olympic appearances.
U.S. has its 9th gold medal.
While the U.S. celebrated, though,
USA on our chest, and we didn't get the job done.
Oh,
but the amateur ideal had gotten muddled. While NBA players were prohibited from Olympic competition,
that's crazy. You never would have known NBA players was prohibited from joining the USA team in the Olympics. Never would have known. Learn something new every day, right?
from other leagues abroad could play.
If you played in Europe for money, you were an amateur, but if you played in the NBA for money, you were a professional. And so our players weren't eligible.
Those other countries were using pros, playing against 18, 19-year-old kids. That is really unfair.
Changing the hypocrisy, though, was a central goal of a European named Boris Stankovic, the head of FIBA, the World Basketball Federation.
He was very much intent on lifting basketball up to the highest possible level of international sports. And if the whole world knew that the very best players in the world were not participating in the Olympics, that made it a second-class event.
So in 1989, Stankovic issued a resolution to allow pros from all leagues to compete in the Olympics.
Well, shout out to Stankovic for making an amazing change, man.
But back in America, the NBA was lukewarm to the idea.
We wanted to be good partners with FIBA to grow the sport of basketball, but we weren't particularly anxious. We didn't know what it would mean. We didn't know if our players would want to do it. We didn't know what the logistics were, but the vote passed, and NBA players were eligible for the Olympics.
Now the issue wasn't about whether American pros could play, but whether the best players wanted to play.
Makes sense.
The one guy that, that we were a little concerned about was probably Michael.
The thought back then was Michael Jordan plays 36 holes of golf 90 days during the summer. What the hell is he going to be doing playing basketball?
I was hoping they would not ask me to participate. And I was trying to figure out a way graciously that I could decline. I'd done.
Really? Michael Jordan wanting to decline representing the USA?
Big thing before, and when Rod Thorne called me and asked me, I wasn't gung-ho about it.
My appeal to him was, you're the top player in the world. This is bigger than the NBA Finals, and we need you. His thing, well, who else is playing? I mean, are all the good players going to play? I'm not going to play by myself.
So Michael Jordan waited to hear more, and Rod Thorne made his next call.
It was a no-brainer for me. I was in from day one. And I figured if I jumped in first and said I wanted to play, that would get guys to want to participate as well.
Makes sense. Magic being the leader that he is, always being a chameleon, blending in with the crowd, being outgoing and positive and embracing the people.
I think if Magic wasn't on that team, I don't think it would have been as spectacular as it was. And to finish out our careers, that was important for both of us.
Once you get guys like Magic and Larry committing to the team, then all of a sudden it becomes something very, very special. Representing the USA is already a tremendous honor, but to know that you're going to be on a dream team is a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Magic, Bird, and David Robinson weren't alone in their pride.
They called in the big guns. We're the Navy SEALs that we had to go over there and kick butts and take names.
He said we the Navy SEALs. We had to go over there, kick butt, and take names.
With those stars and the Utah Jazz tandem of John Stockton and Karl Malone, the dream team was starting to take shape.
It don't matter if you call me last.
He got a country voice. Karl Malone got a country voice.
I got the call.
I didn't feel like that I deserved to be called, but I truly wasn't going to tell them that.
I was like, yeah, I'm in. I didn't even think to say who else was on the team. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Yes.
Charles Barkley's ability was never in question.
Charles giving himself a shape up, why he being televised right now and interviewed by reporters.
But his attitude was.
God want us to win the world championship.
I don't know if I go that much off.
No, I talked to him the other night.
I learned early in Philadelphia. It doesn't matter what I say. So from this day forward, I'm going to say what the hell I want to say.
Charles, you on TNT still saying what you want to say. And you just being a reporter at this point.
And some people going to like it, and some people going to dislike it.
But after a series of incidents on and off the court, the least of the committee's concerns were about what Barkley would say.
I was asked to talk to him. He was so honored that we would even think about asking him. He convinced me that you won't have any problems with me.
Now, with the team nearly complete, Rod Thorne had enough talent secured to go back to where he started.
Representing my country was a big thing, but I think, the biggest motivation for me was now I get to spend time with some of the guys I compete against all the time.
Portland's Clyde Drexler rounded out the list of NBA players, while the final spot on the roster was reserved for an amateur, Duke's Christian Laettner, coming off back-to-back NCAA titles.
I never heard of nobody named Christian Laettner.
There's the pass to Laettner.
Laettner.
Puts it up. Yes!
In any other
Who is this dude?
Olympic year, Laettner might have been the team's biggest star, but on this team, he was fine with being the last guy on the bench.
I tell people this all the time, and it may shock them, but my most enjoyable year was my freshman year because they don't expect nothing from you except carry the luggage,
You look young.
do the laundry, and get our donuts. And that's easy. The harder thing is to be the leader.
By May of 1991, 2 months before
My birthday month, May. I still wasn't born until 99 though.
the Olympics, the team was set. One college kid and 11 future Hall of Famers. The man charged with putting it all together was the unflappable Chuck Daly.
Chuck Daly.
Okay, all set?
All set.
Chuck looked the part. He was the guy that looked like he owned the arena, but he would also push the broom.
His hair was beautiful. His suits were immaculate. He wanted to win, but he wanted to look good.
As the head coach of the Detroit Pistons, Daly did both, winning back-to-back championships in 1989 and 90.
The Pistons are winners and still champions of the world.
The Pistons were
Well, they know how they liked his hair slicked back.
nicknamed the Bad Boys for their aggressive and some said dirty style of play, never more evident than in their memorable playoff battles with Michael Jordan's Bulls.
Michael on the move against Vinnie Johnson to the hoop. He is necktied. Michael Jordan goes down hard.
Detroit and Chicago had no love for each other.
So when Daly was named the Dream Team coach, many wondered how he'd handle working with the Bulls' biggest star.
That's interesting.
I was being asked to wrestle with some demons and some issues.
But the coach was well acquainted with the task of managing personalities.
He coached the bad boys. And if you can coach those, you can coach anybody.
Yeah, basically, if you put it like that, simply if he coached the baddest team in the NBA at that time, what can it be any worse?
Player Daly wouldn't be coaching in the Olympics, however, was his own star in Detroit, point guard Isaiah Thomas, who controversially had been left off the team's roster.
No matter how much people try to say now, it was no big a deal. It was a big deal.
I talked to Isaiah at the beginning of the year about the aspect he wasn't on the team, and he was not comfortable with it. I'm sure he is very hurt. He's a very deserving player, but he was not selected.
Thomas was well on his way to a Hall of Fame career, but was also seen by many as the biggest cultivator of the Bad Boys image in Detroit.
Basically, my man seemed like a troublemaker. So the simple fact is, to rep the team USA, he'll already be seen as problematic based on the narrative that already came along with him.
Isaiah was the general. He was the guy that would yap at his teammates and say, knock them on the ass, do whatever you got to do.
Okay, he was the orchestrator.
He knew he was going to get hit.
I despised the way that he played the game.
Did you want him on the Dream Team?
No, I did not want him on the team.
Did Michael? Did he want him on the team?
Well, I can't speak for Michael, but I don't think he wanted him on the team.
Now, there has been speculation that your icy relationship with Isaiah Thomas is the reason that he was not selected. Well, what is your reaction to that?
That was one of the stipulations put to me prior to
That was the narrative most likely put on Michael Jordan, leading him to answer it, and it just being a question to him. Doesn't mean that it's factual. This is allegedly, you know. So I'm curious to see what Michael Jordan's going to say based on the narrative that journalists and individuals are running with, that he didn't state out his own mouth.
Been committing that was one of the stipulations put to me prior to me even committing, that Isiah wasn't a part of the team. I was getting strong innuendos that it wasn't just, you know, it was coming from higher places that didn't want Isiah Thomas on the team.
Certainly things are being pointed at me because of our relationship and of course about the way that the end of the game between Detroit and Chicago ended.
We were picking the group just after the Pistons had been eliminated by the Bulls, and it was very bad timing for Isiah. Everybody had fresh in their mind the picture of Isiah walking off the court.
Pistons wasting no time in getting out of here. They left the bench, although the 7-9.
Well, they got up out of there. Look, they said they lost, and they don't want to be seen as the ones who lost.
Seconds remaining. The Pistons just left.
When the Pistons walked off the court before the final bell, I think it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
All right, no Isiah Thomas stuff.
No Isiah Thomas questions.
Cool.
Jordan and the team were done answering questions about Isiah. But with training camp approaching, a bigger question would need to be answered.
Hello, how you doing?
How would the 12 stars that were selected play
Get
together?
along. Yep. How would they cooperate?
Training camp began on June 22nd, 1992, in La Jolla, California. And when the gym doors opened, no one was quite sure what to expect, especially the players themselves.
It's a lot of egos in one gym and on one team. Everybody wanted their form to shine and showcase why they were a part of this team.
With all these stars on the team, if it comes...
I mean, it makes sense, man. They are honored, you know, so it pumped a lot of egos because they are the ones who did get a spot is in this gym practicing.
Down to the last shot. Who's going to take the shot?
Me. Everybody in the world has an ego. The only difference between us, we have a reason to have an ego.
So basically, they proven to the individuals that's in a position on the opposite team in the NBA and regular season and playoffs in the league that they play in, when they played against each other, they want to prove that they dominate over the other person they on the dream team repping Team USA with, but want to make sure they dominate over the other person in regards to the position that they play. So they basically want to show, I dominate this position and I play it better than you. Okay, you a small forward, I'm a small forward on my original team in the league that we play. But even though we both represent Team USA right now to go to the Olympics, I still want you to show and display my game, and I want you to see what I'm capable of. A lot of people going in the right direction want to be great. They are great, pushing each other to the fullest potential to be great and challenging their skills to readjust, learn, and give a great challenge, you know, to advance, continue to grow within their skill sets, right? Embarrass yourself, just hang in there. The nervousness when you're a college player playing against future Hall of Fame, to taking on leading roles on their own teams separately, that when they came to playing each other were great, just like, you do it, you know what I'm saying? Let media know what?
It was erase the scoreboard.
Wow. Well, shout out to Chuck, man, for being very strategic in regards to the response, so the media don't get their hands on something that can be very detrimental to the team and create so much controversy, along with the great future Hall of Famers who, you know, were picked to create the dream team to represent the Team USA after NBA players became able to even participate in the Olympics, man. But stay tuned for part 2. I'm going to leave it here. You know, on that note, family, spread that peace, love, and positivity. Peace.